What's going on, guys? It's Macleod GF, and today I'm going to be doing another custom LEGO minifigure showcase video, and this time I've got 5 figures to celebrate the release of Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is launching tonight at midnight, and I'm going to be there at the premiere to pick up my copy and play it all freaking night because I am super excited for Halo 2 Anniversary. But before I go any further, I've got Master Chief himself, John 117, Thelvadon the Arbiter, Sergeant Johnson, Miranda Keys, and Lord Hood, all of which I've been working on for the past 2 months. This has pretty much been what I've primarily been working on, aside from a bunch of CW characters from Arrow and The Flash. So this has been quite a job, and definitely the most sculpting I've ever had to do for any series of minifigures I've ever made, and these definitely presented quite a challenge, and I'll get into all of that in the actual, when I do actually go over the minifigures themselves. But yeah, it was just the beginning of this year when 343 was shooting down any rumors of a possible Halo 2 Anniversary. Then at E3 they hit us with the Master Chief Collection, and that all 4 games' lifespans are being extended because now they're going to be launched on Xbox One, on top of the Halo 5 Guardians beta, Halo Nightfall, and I got Halo 2 Anniversary's graphics of the cutscenes by Blur look so freaking phenomenal. I can't wait for all of this, but I don't want to delay you guys any further, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start off with Master Chief, and immediately when I knew I was going to be making a Mark 6 version of Master Chief, I instantly knew that I was going to have to pretty much take the Brickforged Spartan armor as far as I personally think it can go, and that included me having to pretty much paint it to the best of my ability, outlining various different areas, a lot of weathering, and adding on as many different accurate details as I think could have been possible with the arms and legs, and all of that to pretty much achieve what I would consider the definitive Master Chief in his Mark 6 armor, and that is pretty much what I think I've done here, because this is exactly what I picture the minifigure as being before I actually even started it. So I am pretty damn proud of this version of Master Chief, and yeah, but before I continue, because obviously it is kind of noticeable, is I've got him wielding the new Brick Arms rocket launcher, and not just any new Brick Arms rocket launcher. This is the special version of the Brick Arms rocket launcher, because this is the version that actually has the aluminum coils running through the center of it, and however many steps it took, or however many different lengths the Will Chapman had to go to achieve that, I don't even want to know, because it is beyond me, because actually getting aluminum tubes in the middle of an ABS little monstrosity is pretty insane, just seeing that to begin with, and that is what the silver you're seeing here is. I didn't actually paint the silver here. This is all actual aluminum, part of the mold, which is super sweet. And what's also really great about this version of the rocket launcher is that it actually has the 2 holes in the at the very the front of it. There you go, words. And yeah, I mean, years ago, back in 2009, I never thought I would see the day that Brick Arms would actually put out a Halo rocket launcher, but it has officially happened. It's still in prototype stage, but if you want to get it without my paint job on it, then you can go ahead and go over to gibrick.com, because they've got them there, and it is available for the prototype price, if you will, but it's still really awesome and definitely worth picking up if you're a Halo fan and want to make your own Halo minifigure. So pretty much what I did to it was I just pretty much painted whatever I saw on the Halo 2 rocket launcher, and that included the caution lines on both sides of the back, the little rivets that you see in the very center of it, the dark brown elements that you see in the center and on the back, the light gray outlines on the back, the little light on this little tip here, and then like the word push, which actually was it was actually easier to paint than I thought it was going to be, and also the silver on the very front of it. And it's really great because not only is this thing super accurate, but it is grippable in multiple different spots. It can be gripped on the back, on the actual flashlight piece here, the monopod, which is actually pretty cool because monopods are a separate piece that can be clipped on pretty much anything that is the size of a Lego rod, and then obviously the actual portion where he's supposed to be holding it, which is what I've got Master Chief gripping onto right now. So that thing is sweet. And a Halo rocket launcher has officially happened, so I could not be more excited to actually have it on my Master Chief minifigure. But now that I've pretty much gone over this super awesomeness that I did my best to paint, I'm going to go ahead and put it to the side right now so we can get a better look at the Master Chief minifigure himself. And pretty much like I said, what I was going for here was just me trying to make the definitive version of Master Chief in his Mark 6 armor, and that included me painting him in a very light green color that we see him having in the game in Halo 2 and Halo 3 3, but in Halo 3 it was a little bit darker, so which is why I wouldn't really consider this a Halo 3 version of Master Chief, even though I guess you kind of could. But yeah, so one thing when I made Master Chief was I wanted to have a lot of detail on the visor, which is something I've never done before for a Halo Master Chief minifigure, and I had seen other people who have tried to paint on their own lines onto the visor that didn't really work out so well, so I was kind of afraid to do it on my version of Master Chief, but when I did and it really grew on me, I was like, okay, that worked. And yeah, so what else? I mean, it's all pretty much self-explanatory. I did actually sculpt on the knee pads. The Mark 6 knee pads were sculpted by me, and were definitely pretty interesting for me to do because sculpting knee pads is definitely not something I do a lot, but I pretty much wanted to maintain the general shape of the Mark 6 knee pads while also keeping the look and making them recognizable by having like the 2 dots there and these different little lines that extend outward. So yeah, other than that, I mean, like I said, the arms are fully hand painted by me. The Mark 6 shoulders are painted on both sides of the arms, which is definitely pretty interesting. And in pretty much wherever I thought it was necessary, I added little black lines in between the armor, just like we see in the actual game. And it turned out to pretty much just add a great level of detail to the minifigure. And also, I did actually paint on the wrist detail, and you can see each of the wrist detail has the little like 5 circular indents that we see on his wrist armor in the game, and that is painted on both hands, which is definitely something I wanted to do, having the hands painted. Did I say wrists? I feel like I said wrists somewhere there. I meant just the hands in general. But yeah, so another little detail in the helmet was I did paint on the lights that you see Master Chief having on his helmet. They're obviously not 3-dimensional, but I did paint them on, and they would probably look pretty awkward if I didn't have them painted on. But I mean, I would really go over every little detail that you see on my Master Chief minifigure, but I'm just pretty much going to leave it at everything you see on my Master Chief minifigure was fully hand painted by me. Everything here, I started off with a blank pair of black legs, black arms, a black torso, and a blank set of Brickforge armor, and I just pretty much went from there to make what I would consider once again to be the definitive Mark 6 Master Chief minifigure, and I could not be more proud with the result. And also all the battle damage definitely makes him look a lot better because Master Chief's armor is never clean in any game. So yeah guys, that is pretty much it though for my Halo 2 Master Chief, and let's put that rocket launcher back on there because it is so freaking awesome. So yeah guys, there you go. I don't even know what to say as the introduction for this minifigure other than I never thought I was going to make the Arbiter. And yeah, so here he is. This is easily the biggest challenge in terms of sculpting that I had faced since Groot. And that says a lot because I knew that I was going to pretty much have to fully sculpt his head and his back and his torso armor, and it all turned out for the better, and he honestly looks great. And I could not be happier with the way this minifigure turned out. Now, granted, like Groot, I'm sure there will be mixed opinions from you guys, and that's perfectly okay, but I just want you to know before you comment is that I honestly am really happy with the way this minifigure turned out, and I really am glad that I can pair him with the rest of the minifigures because yeah, this was a learning experience for me, and I think it was a learning experience that proved to be successful. So, yeah, before I go into all the sculpting work that was done with the Arbiter and all of the painting and my reasoning behind the Toy Story arms and legs, speaking of which, Toy Story 4 is happening, you can see that he is wielding a new, I guess you really can't consider it new, my buddy Peyton has had these for a while. This is my friend Peyton's version of the plasma rifle, and this is fully his own product that I pretty much took it upon myself to paint. You can get these at X39 Brick Customs. I believe that is his site, or is it X39 Customs? I honestly forget, but I will link it down in the description below, and you can pick up your own plasma rifles there. And obviously, they won't have the same detail. They'll just be, a blank color, but they are still really great just to have for any of your Halo minifigures. And so pretty much what I did was just paint on whatever details I could, such as the little lights that you see all over the plasma rifle and the little gold and gray details, along with the base color of dark blue and the gray details on the back as well. So I mean, other than that, there's really as much else to say other than I'm really glad that somebody finally made a plasma rifle, and it's really cool because obviously Peyton, he and his designer definitely did a great job with it, and it's just nice to finally have plasma rifles for the LEGO Halo community because it just needed to happen, and I'm glad that it happened in time for my own Arbiter minifigure. But yeah, and also the Arbiter, I might as well, while I've got him out, pair him with a Brick Arms energy sword because the Brick Arms energy swords definitely look really great with my Arbiter minifigure Arbiter as well, and you can see that they look, you cannot have the Arbiter and not have the energy sword. That's why I figured I'd just give him the energy sword just for now. But yeah. So, other than his accessories, the actual minifigure, holy crap, it was quite a process. And it turned out to be really great because getting into sculpting was something I knew I wanted to do, at the start of this year. That was something I wanted to get started on, was sculpting. And the Arbiter was definitely quite a learning curve for me as, yeah. That is all I have to say in terms of the process, other than it was done in sections. Like the actual Sangheili head was done first, and then the mandibles, and then the actual top the top you can actually see was done in halves. And this little black line right here is actually where the two halves split, and I actually just figured I would camouflage it by painting in the little black indent so it's not noticeable. So I guess I just kind of totally ruined that. But yeah, you can see I've got the Arbiter's eyes all painted in there, and behind the mandibles you can see I've got a little bit of detail going on down there. It's just a bunch of different, pink that I painted in there. It's not really anything specific. I just figured it was necessary because honestly it looks really odd. It's just having a dark, behind his mandibles. But yeah, you can see, I mean, this is pretty much self-explanatory as well. I sculpted pretty much all of this on the back, the entirety of the head and all of the torso armor, and that was completely hand sculpted by me and then fully hand painted on top of that. The arms are hand painted by me. All the blue stripes you see, all fully painted, and this minifigure just turned out to be, I've said it a lot, I realize, but I just am really pretty proud of it. And yeah, so one thing I do want to address before I close out on the Arbiters portion of the video is, why the hell did I use Toy Story arms and legs? And that is simply because, well, I did not want my Arbiter minifigure to be shorter than Miranda Keyes, because in the actual game, the Arbiter is like 7'10" or 7'12". I forget the specific height, but he is really freaking tall, and he towers over Master Chief, so there was no way I was going to let him be shorter than Miranda Keyes by having him be a standard minifigure size. And also, a lot of you guys did recommend for me to, I guess, sculpt my own Sangheili legs by using Darth Maul legs as a base, and I was just like, nah, it's just not necessary. And I really wanted him to look more Lego in this regard, and this is just honestly how I would do Elites. If I did a Shipmaster minifigure, which honestly I would love to do, but obviously as you can tell, Elites are not easy to do, I would have made the Shipmaster look this way as well. It's just, this is the standard that I would use for Elites. So if you ever see another Elite from me, I will most likely use the Woody arms and legs again. It's just my decision, and it's just something that I figured was necessary. So the detail you see on the sides does continue onto the interiors of the legs, and I guess you can consider them the interiors, like the sides you can't see. But yeah, guys, so that is pretty much it for Thelvadam. I really hope I'm pronouncing it right. I've never really seen a person correctly pronounce his name. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Arbiter, a minifigure that I am really proud of and was definitely quite a challenge, and that makes him a highlight of 2014 for me. And yeah, let me know what you think about him in the comments, because easily he is the one that I think you guys will have quite the opinion over. Alright, so now that we got Mr. Vadam out of the way, we can get back to the UNSC side of things, to a minifigure that, honestly, to this point, to this day, I never understand why I didn't make Sergeant Johnson up until this point, because he is such an iconic character to the first 3 Halo games, and also Halo 3 ODST a little bit. So I mean, it's Sergeant Johnson. We all know him from Halo, and there's nothing to say about the character other than he is just a great and super awesome character that I really did miss in Halo 4. So yeah, but Sergeant Johnson was already a given when I knew that I was going to be making some Halo 2 figures. And so right off the bat, one of the main things about Sergeant Johnson here that I knew was going to be a challenge was his hat. And his hat, believe it or not, was pretty involved, because it went through a lot of different stages, and originally I almost canceled making Sergeant Johnson because I almost did not know what the heck I was going to do for the hat. So basically, after a long bunch of processes, I ended up taking the painter's hat from, I believe, one of the collectible minifigure series, and I just sculpted onto the top of it to make it flat, and then I just basically sanded away at it. And it was a lot more involved than that, but that is pretty much the sum up of what I did to make Sergeant Johnson's hat. So a bunch of sanding and buffing and painting later there it is. And I think it did turn out to be pretty much everything I was going for, and it works, absolutely works for this minifigure. And yeah, so it's kind of funny though, because once you pull off his hat, because his hair is so thin in the game, I did, like I've done on minifigures, I did paint on his hair. So it's kind of funny when you pull off his head, but the face though is pretty awesome, because the face turned out to be pretty great. I did, instead of going for a more humorous, I know, you know, Sergeant Johnson is a very humorous character, but I wanted to go for a more aggressive facial expression. So that's what I did there. All the facial hair, his mustache, and everything is all fully painted by me, and I think it turned out to be pretty great. So yeah, but putting his hat back on to get a better look at the rest of the minifigure, you can see on the chest of Sergeant Johnson, I did use four, I cannot count, 6 tiny tactical pouches, which I painted in a mossy green color, and then I painted on pretty much all the little clips that you see on the top of them in a light gray color. And it was, I gotta say, it was not easy to glue on those pouches onto the torso. That was pretty much, that was a big challenge making this minifigure as well. Aside from the actual hat, the pouches almost didn't work, and these pouches are expensive too, so that was pretty involved for me to do. But yeah, another thing I do want to mention that I should mention is that his shoulder pads are sculpted by me, and sculpting the shoulder pads was something I knew I was going to have to do, because Sergeant Johnson in Halo 2 Anniversary, he is no longer thin like he has been in previous, and you know, in you know, the way Halo 2 was originally, and Halo 1 and Halo 3. So I pretty much had to somehow represent that bulk of his armor and I knew it was going to have to be by sculpting his shoulder pads on. So while that too was also a bit of a challenge, I did also end up working out for the better. So yeah, but let's go ahead and take a look at his accessories real quick before I talk about the rest of the minifigure. And you can see that he does wield another brick arms weapon, and this is the battle rifle. And the battle rifle is super sweet, and it is great representation of the battle rifles we see in the Halo games in Halo 2 and 3. And yeah, you can see I pretty much painted on the dark gray areas, the silver on the front of the scope, the little flashlight down there in white, and then I also painted on the ammo counter, which obviously does not have an actual ammo count because this is Lego, guys, and you can only go so small. Even though I could have painted that on, I just didn't think it was necessary. And yeah, another accessory which I knew was gonna have to be a thing with Sergeant Johnson was a cigar, and the cigar is pretty much just the tail end of the Lego collectible minifigures. I believe it was Series 4 Painter's paintbrush, and I pretty much just chopped off the tail end of it and painted on the detail that you see on the front, the orange, the yellow, and the gray rim, to pretty much make a really awesome looking cigar. My first time ever making a cigar. It was pretty simple, but pretty awesome. It had to be with this minifigure. So taking that, lowering it down, and also actually let's just take off the battle rifle in general for right now to get a better look at the rest of this minifigure. You can see that I have a lot going on here for Sergeant Johnson, and this is about as accurate as I could get it with an extremely limited amount of reference pictures. So yes, the legs are probably not accurate, but I did have to basically wing it on the legs because there was nothing. There was nothing for me to base it off of. Pretty much only the belt up is accurate. The legs are not, unfortunately, but they still did, I think, turn out looking really nice with the details that I was able to add on. Those details do continue down, you know, into the interior, you know, portions of the legs. So yeah, and other than that, I mean, I once again, I would explain to you everything that I painted on here, but I did paint on the details on the hands, on both hands, by the way. If I just flip the cigar around, you can see that. But like I said, I would explain to you everything I painted on, but it is all painted by me. This was a blank torso, a blank pair of arms, and a blank pair of legs, and a blank head. And I just went from there. And that's what I always do with my minifigures, but that's why I decided to cut down on explaining it in this video. Yeah, but other than that, though, that is pretty much it for my first version of Sergeant Johnson, and I am sorry that it took this long for it to happen. For our second to last minifigure, we've got Miranda Keyes. And Miranda Keyes, in terms of painting, was not that hard, but then in terms of sculpting, this minifigure almost didn't happen. And I say that because I hadn't sculpted a hairpiece in a really long time. So when I attempted to sculpt Miranda Keyes' hairpiece, it took me more tries than Sergeant Johnson's hat and the Arbiter sculpt combined. And that just goes to show that hairpieces are not easy to do. So, but finally when I did have something presentable, I showed it in a vlog. You guys gave me some feedback, and I took that feedback into consideration, modified it a little bit. You guys actually helped me out with sculpting this hairpiece, and it its final outcome. So that was nice of you guys. And also, you can see that in terms of, like I said, in terms of painting, there was no issue. It was just the near impossible hairpiece that made for the most difficult accessory out of all these Master Chief Collection minifigures to make was, like I said, this hairpiece. So yeah, that. And also, you'll see that Miranda Keyes is wielding a pair of Brick Arms SMGs, and Brick Arms SMGs were definitely fitting for this minifigure because we see her wielding them during the cutscene where her and Sergeant Johnson attempt to retrieve the index, and then they're ambushed by the Arbiter inevitably. But yeah, the SMGs do not actually have any paintwork done to them because simply there was no paintwork required. If you ask me, it was just unnecessary. Just like the Energy Sword, there really isn't anything for me to do. They look great just how they are, and in the game there really isn't a whole lot of detail going on Halo 2 SMG, so I left them the way they were. And yeah, so if we go ahead and take these out of Miranda Keyes' hands just for now to get a better look at the rest of the minifigure that I painted here, you can see that I pretty much added about everything I could, but unfortunately in terms of her back, she did suffer from the same problem that I had with Sergeant Johnson. But thankfully Sergeant Johnson, we got a look at his back like just a few days ago, and I was able to paint it on. But unfortunately the same could not be said for Miranda Keyes, and I have no idea what's on her new updated look, like what's on the back of her new updated outfit in Halo 2 Anniversary. So I pretty much just painted the three little details you see right there on the back. But other than that, once again, this minifigure, just like the rest, is fully 100% hand painted by me, and that's pretty much all I can say. That includes the little emblem patches on her arms, the sets of yellow stripes on her wrists, the curved Aerialite torso, Aerialite being the one who provides, he's the third-party seller who actually makes his own female curved torsos, which I've used several times in the past, and I use that on Miranda Keyes here in a dark bluish gray color. So yeah, but if we actually go ahead and take off her head, you can see that we do actually have some more yellow stripes on the top of her torso, as accurate to her appearance in Halo 2, and so I wanted to make sure to have those and pretty much all the necessary yellow stripes on Miranda Keyes. So other than that, though, that's pretty much it for Miranda Keyes, freaking Dr. Halsey's daughter, which I guess makes her a pretty important character, and also we see her obviously as a recurring character in Halo 2 and 3, and yeah, I don't know why I mentioned that. I think I'm going to stop talking now. Let's go ahead and get a better look at Lord Hood. Thankfully, though, Lord Hood was a sigh of relief because he was very simple for me to make, and he did not take a lot of time. As a matter of fact, I made Lord Hood here in just a few days. He was not a complex minifigure for me to make, and what's really funny about Lord Hood here is he's a detailed minifigure, but there aren't a lot of details. Like, I mean, you have the little insignias and emblems that he's got going on here, which were easily, they weren't, it's kind of funny because they're nearly microscopic, but they were still actually fairly easy for me to paint on. And and also you'll notice like the little wing designs up here and the little eagle, none of which was really that time consuming. And his face also turned out to be really awesome. Also, I do want to mention that in the original Halo 2, he did have the yellow stripes on his arms or on his wrists, just like Miranda Keyes, but we don't actually know if that's the same in Halo 2 Anniversary with the new blur cutscene. So, given that I was already short on time because I finished Lord Hood just a few days ago, given that I was already short on time and I didn't actually definitively know if he had those stripes on his wrists, I figured, you know what's the point? So I decided to leave him the way he is, and I still think he looks great the way he is. And these little insignias, man, the amount of detail that went into just this little corner of his torso was pretty insane. But believe it or not, I actually had a great time painting those little details on. It was it turned out to be better than I thought. And also he's got the little, I don't even know what it is, but he wears like this gold thing around his torso, and I don't know what it is. If you guys know what it is, be sure to let me know in the comments. But I did extend it past just the front of his torso, and obviously it splits off here, but it does continue onto the back, and a little bit of detail on the back. He's got the neural interface planted onto the back of his head, just like he has it in Halo 2 and 3, and also you'll notice that he does actually have the Halo 2 pistol, which is the M6C version of the Magnum, and in most cases we have just the standard M6 series Magnums, but this is the M6C that we see in Halo 2 exclusively, and this, well, I mean, and also Halo 3 ODST, you have the silenced version in there too, but I mean, this is the unsilenced version that we originally saw in Halo 2, and what I did here was, it's funny because Brickforge, they actually have, Brickforge being the ones who made the Master Chief armor that I used, they have their own version of the M6C, but it's the silenced ODST one that I mentioned. And so pretty much what I do was I cut the top off and cut the flashlight off to make it a standard M6C for Lord Hood here. And with a little bit of modification, this Rick Forge accessory turned out to be really awesome, and it's pretty sweet. So I'm pretty happy that I ended up, being able to make a pretty good looking Halo 2 pistol out of the Halo 3 ODST version of that same pistol. So there you go. Hopefully you followed all of that. But yeah, so his hat was actually taken from a collectible minifigure series minifigure. I forget, it was like a captain of a certain, I don't know, but it was one of the collectible minifigure series minifigures. That's where this hat came from. And the face also turned out, like I said, to be pretty awesome, and I could not be happier with Mr. Hood here. So yeah, so I mean, I don't know what else to say other than hopefully you guys enjoyed these minifigures and how they turned out, because like I said, it was definitely quite a challenge, and doing all the things that I did to make these minifigures possible. And yeah, so that's it. And let's go ahead and conclude this showcase video.
Sir.
Permission to leave the station.
For what purpose, Master Chief?
To give the Covenant back their bond.
Alright guys, and there you go, the showcase video on all 5 of the minifigures that I made to celebrate the release of Halo the Master Chief Collection. And if you enjoyed this showcase video, or maybe you found yourself inspired to make your own Halo 2 anniversary minifigures, then be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion in the comments, as both of which definitely mean a lot and definitely go a long way, because it is a lot more time consuming and a lot more effort to put into these minifigures than you might think. So I already mentioned in the beginning of this video that these 5 minifigures alone took me like 2 months. So unfortunately, I am only one Ross with 2 Ross hands, and that's why it makes these pretty much impossible to sell, and that is unfortunately the sucky part about it. But yeah, you can also follow me on the Twitter and the Bookface. Links to both of those are always in the description below as well, and there I post all kinds of behind-the-scenes photos and updates of what I'm up to and what's to come for my channel, such as, like, I've been posting the Flash and Captain Cold from the CW series that just started a few weeks ago, and I'm working on those, along with a bunch of figures like Arsenal and Black Canary from Arrow and some other stuff. So you can see all that over there first, because it is a lot easier to post a photo than it is to fully edit and record an entire showcase video. So yeah, but I'm gonna go pick up my copy of Halo the Master Chief Collection and play Halo 2 Anniversary all freaking night. And my buddy Sean and I are actually gonna be doing an easy run through the campaign first, just to watch all the cutscenes before we actually play it on like a normal difficulty such as Heroic. So yeah, that's how excited I am. I feel like I'm more excited for the cutscenes than anything else, but I am also really excited to actually be able to play through the Halo 2 campaign for the first time, because the Halo 2 campaign is the only campaign I never got to play through. So I'm excited for that, and also being the fact that Halo 3, I love Halo 3 to death, and now Halo 3's lifespan has been extended a few more years, because now it has been brought to Xbox One, so I won't have to say goodbye to Halo 3 like I thought I was going to pretty soon. So it's nice to know, and it's nice that more Halo is going to stick around, and all the Halo games that we love are going to stick around for the foreseeable future, and that is one of the main reasons that I'm really excited for Halo the Master Chief Collection. I could not be more thankful to 343 Industries for making it happen, and also I'm looking forward to Halo 5 Guardians and all the hints and teases that they will have in the Master Chief Collection. So yeah guys, that is it for this video, and I will catch you later. Alright, bye! To you guys, because usually I'm only able to post. Really? This is kind of like a big showcase, and you seem to disagree. Thank you. Kitty, can you like... No. Kitty, no. Stop. Please.
I must get inside.
Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough are you?
What is it? More brutes?
Worse.
Thelvadon, the Arbiter...
Master Chief, defend this station.
No, sir.
Thelvadon, why can't I say Sergeant Johnson? What is going on?